She stopped at a light and saw him walking in that field behind the Lost River Drive-In. Julie said he was so creepy.
Hey, what is up, everybody? It's Nick here, and today I am here to give you a list that I cannot believe I haven't done up to this point. If you're looking behind me, and you look behind me in all of my videos, you're probably like, why haven't you talked about Chucky yet? That's a good question. The answer to that question, I don't know. But we're going to rectify that today because I'm a huge Child's Play fan. I have been my entire life. Everybody has an interesting story with their introduction to the character of Chucky. And that is really that you either loved him or you were terrified of him. I didn't really have dolls growing up, so Chucky never scared me. I always loved his personality, and I just wanted more Chucky to the point where, judge me if you want, my son has already seen most of the Child's Play movies, not Seed or Cult, because I think those are a little too far. It's a bridge too far for kids, but they're pretty tame by today's standards. And Chucky just, I don't know, there's something endearing about that little guy. You know, you just love him. You want to hang out with him. You want to spend time with him. He doesn't scare you. I always used to think like, oh, I could just punt that dude. So I thought today's the day. Today is the day for the tier list. Today is the day to give you guys my thoughts on all things Chucky. And I want to show you guys the tiers that I have created today. Now, this is going off of like iconic. So it's basically like iconic lines from the franchise, level of, iconography, I guess, or iconic status, whatever you want to call it in the franchise. So the highest tier is "How's it hanging, Phil?" Because that's probably my favorite line in the entire franchise. So that's going to be the best tier. The next one is "Give me the power, I beg of you," which means, we're close. You're pretty friggin' amazing. You're not quite the GOAT, but you're right there. Middle of the road is Chucky's going to be a bro, which, I think it's solid. I like it. I'm not over the moon about it, but I think it's solid. The next one is just Martha Stewart. I didn't put the entire quote about Martha Stewart on there, but you all know what I'm talking about here. And furthermore, I don't really like Martha Stewart, So I just feel like Martha Stewart's a good one to be like, whatever. I don't hate it, but I don't really find myself revisiting it much. And the last one is, "You're pissing your pants." Forgive my terrible English accent, but that should go, without needing any explanation from me. That is the bottom of the barrel, the worst of the worst. And I think you know where we're going there. But it's also important to remember that these quotes aren't necessarily indicative of the film that they come from being in that tier. No, not necessarily. So we're starting this off with the first Child's Play. There is a debate amongst many Child's Play fans that the original Child's Play is the best film in the franchise. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you're wrong if you think that, because the original Child's Play is great. I made a video a year or so ago that was just titled "Child's Play is a monster movie." And that is because it very much plays like a monster movie. Your villain is kind of shrouded in secrecy for large portions of the movie before the third act really just kind of unravels everything before your eyes. We think we know, like, yeah, this doll's doing it. It's not Andy. But there's enough ambiguity there at times. It's a great movie. And it's going into "How's it hanging, Phil?" I don't really know how I could justify not putting the original Child's Play into the absolute peak tier in this franchise, because there's not a ton of, media in this franchise. There's 8 movies and a television series. So you don't have a ton to go off of. It's not like some other franchises where we've got, 12, 15 movies. But I think it's undoubted that, unquestioned, I guess I should say, that Child's Play belongs in "How's It Hanging, Phil?" Now, again, I want to stress that personally, this is not my favorite Child's Play film. And that is solely just because I feel like, as great a monster movie as it is, it's kind of like similar to A Nightmare on Elm Street, where it's like they didn't quite know what they had yet, and they would get there very, very soon. Again, not a knock on this movie at all. Child's Play is great. Child's Play is a movie that I honestly think Child's Play 2 and Child's Play 3 are easier to kind of accept and digest as a child because they're more fun, they're more over the top. Child's Play is more of like a mystery movie. It plays that way, very much like a detective crime movie as well. But it's a great film, and it easily belongs in How's It Hangin' Phil. And I'm very appreciative for this movie existing because it birthed an icon. All right. Sorry, Jack. Chucky's back. Child's Play 2. Now, the debate is always between these two movies. Always has been, I think always will be. Most people are going to say 1 or 2 is the best Child's Play film, and here's why. For me, Child's Play 2 is easily How's It Hangin' Phil. Furthermore, you know what? I don't feel right about this. It's not going to let me, or is it going to let me? Will you let me? Let me. Yes. Child's Play 2 is my favorite Child's Play film. I think it's the best Child's Play film. It's different than the first film. So if you much prefer that mystery crime aspect of the first film, I understand why that is the one you would pick over Child's Play 2. But for me, Child's Play 2 is that movie that knew what they had. That was the movie where they figured it out. They were like, okay, Chucky is the draw here. It's not the mystery anymore. The cat's out of the bag. Okay. If you've seen Child's Play, you know the cat's out of the bag. We know, okay, the doll is possessed by a serial killer and he's the one committing these atrocities. So once that's out in the open, you can't really play with the audience anymore. So you got to give them Chucky, and you got to give them Chucky early. And this movie does. I think that this is probably the best walking of the line with Chucky. He's got great iconic lines, like How's It Hangin' Phil, the whole scene with Mrs. Kettlewell. But I still think he's kind of creepy. It's not funny yet. It's not bordering on Bride and Seed and stuff like that. It's pretty mean. It's pretty malicious. He's very malevolent in this movie. The whole third act is like nightmare fuel for a kid. A toy factory should be a fun place, right? Not in this movie, it's not. I think Alex Vincent is way better here. I think Christina Elise is great as Kyle. I love their dynamic. Everything about this movie to me just feels like an improved upon Child's Play. More Chucky and a better performance. Better performances by the people anchoring your movie that aren't Chucky. It's more iconic. It's more quotable. Child's Play 2 is my favorite Child's Play film. And I will go to my grave with that being the case. So it's going in How's It Hangin' Phil. We're off to a great start here, guys. We really are. So now we get to Child's Play 3. And it's interesting because, I loved this movie when I was a kid and a teenager. When I became a young adult, I started to kind of cool on it a little bit. And now in my 30s, I'm like, nah, dude, Child's Play 3 rules. Child's Play 3 for me is going into Give Me the Power, I Beg of You. I don't think it's quite as good as the first two. Part of that is because it is a little jarring that it's a different Andy. It's Andy, but it's different. We know that. And Justin Whalen does fine. That's not at all to knock on Justin Whalen. I like him in this movie. I like the cast in this movie. You get Matthew Walker, Spitz from Halloween 5. He's in this movie. Really dig the setting. I do. Again, a bit jarring. We went from Andy being this tiny kid to, okay, now he's a young adult and he's at this military school. Very different. But once you get used to it, it's really cool. Here's my issue with Child's Play 3. Child's Play 3, I feel like at times doesn't know what kind of movie it wants to be. It doesn't know if it wants to be the Child's Play 3 that it pitched to you with its premise and its characters that, Andy returning and whatnot, or if it wants to also be that movie from, the first movie with the addition of the Tyler character. The actor's fine. He does a fine job, but, I don't have any issues with his performance. It's more so that I just think it takes away from this movie. I don't think that we needed to do the child finding the doll and helping the doll get into another body thing again. I just don't think we needed to do that. The novelty had worn off on that. We've all, at this point, we were familiar with that. It should have just been about Chucky going to the military school for Andy, and that's what it was. but we didn't need to input this Tyler character. Plus, you don't care enough about this character to really feel he's ever in peril. So, whereas with Andy, you did when he was a kid. So I feel like that kind of tonally messes with the movie at times, but it's a great movie. Love the war game sequence. Absolutely love the third act of this movie. Probably the most iconic vanquishing of Chucky. This poster is terrifying. Chucky is, again, just like Child's Play 2, infinitely quotable, super memorable. I don't think you can go wrong with this first trilogy. While I don't think the Child's Play 3, again, is on the level of 1 or 2, I think it is damn close. So I think 1, 2, and 3 are a great back-to-back-to-back watch. So Child's Play 3 goes into Give Me the Power, I Beg of You, and I feel like that's fair. Bride of Chucky. Bride of Chucky is the moment that a lot of Child's Play fans will say the franchise changed. A lot of Child's Play fans will say this is where it got to be a little bit too much for me. And I can understand that. But let me explain myself with this movie and where I'm putting it. And I'm putting Bride of Chucky into Give Me the Power, I Beg of You. Now, Bride of Chucky that movie is like right on par with Child's Play 3 for me. I think they're both really good movies, damn near great films. Bride of Chucky, I think, introducing Tiffany in the way they did as a human and then as the doll, I think she is an incredible character. I love their dynamic. They have great synergy. I really liked that. You're in the fourth movie now in this franchise. You got to mix it up a little bit. I like Ronnie Yu's style for this movie. It's very heavy metal. It's very 90s. And I say that in a good way, not detrimental, because there's movies that are like, oh God, that's so 90s. Bride is not one of them. I love the aesthetic of this movie. Very goth, and obviously Tiffany helps with that, but I really dig that. I even liked the kind of like lovers plot here, traveling across country with these dolls. Like, it's kind of cool. A young Katherine Heigl, too. Like, I really like a lot about this movie. Now, I will agree that this is where the franchise began to change, but I don't think it was changing for the worse yet, in my opinion. I think that with this movie specifically, while it was a bit jarring, I do think it worked. I do think they didn't walk the line as well as they did with Child's Play 2, but I still feel like they walked the line well enough in Bride of Chucky. It wasn't too much in one direction or the other, because there's still some like horrific stuff in this movie. Like, let's be real. There's some great kills. Chucky's design is kind of awesome. Like, I love the scars look. It's funny enough without being overtly funny. There is a moment or two where I'm like, that might be a little too far. But Bride is like everything good about Child's Play while trying a couple new things. Some of them work, some of them don't, but I'd say most of them work. So for me, I put Bride into Give Me the Power, I Beg of You. And let me just say that I personally feel like the character of Tiffany has never been the same again. She was amazing in this film. And ever since this film, I think it has been a downward spiral for the character. But believe me, we'll get there. All right. The next one. Is this even a surprise? Seed of Chucky is going into You're Pissing Your Pants. I mean, look, I've had a weird relationship with this movie. I've talked about this over the years. When I saw this movie at a young age, this came out, I was just 04, 05. I was 10, 11, 12, something like that. And I thought it was funny. I thought it was goofy. Coming from an upbringing where Chucky didn't scare me, seeing Chucky in this like overly comedic light, I was like, yeah, this is the Chucky I know, right? He's a jokester. And then as I got older, it was my teen years when I turned on Seed of Chucky. I wasn't even an adult yet. And I was like, no, this movie sucks. And it's because I was reminded that like, while Chucky didn't scare me as a kid, he was still a serious character. He was still somebody I took seriously. I still understood why he did scare kids. There was an air of menace about that character. Seed of Chucky takes all of that away. I mean, it is genuinely a parody. Now, I know there are people that love this movie, and I'm not going to tell you you're wrong if you love it. I mean, to each their own. But for me, I don't find the comedy funny. I don't find the writing good at all. Don wanted to bring in, and I credit him for wanting to bring in certain topical issues, especially topical, 20 years later. He was kind of ahead of his time with, you know, gender topics and whatnot. And I respect that. But when you bring that into a film, you cannot treat that as a joke. If you're actually trying to like say something about it, which Don wanted to say something about it, you're just treating it as a joke though. So you're not getting anybody on your side. You're making people that maybe already disagree with you double down and go, yeah, this is dumb. And that's not the right way to do it. You can walk a line between like being preachy and being just self-aggrandizing. And I just don't know what Don was going for there. Again, I do feel like the inclusion of that character and that plot is really cool and something that I think was ahead of its time. So yeah, I mean, I just take issue with the handling of all of that because I do think it was something that was important to talk about, but I don't think he treated it as something that was important to talk about. And I don't think you can have your cake and eat it too in that instance, and then get mad at people for having an issue with it because you just didn't handle it the right way. Um, it's a bad movie. I mean, I really do think it's a bad movie. I think it bastardizes everything that was Chucky and Tiffany for that matter. It's just a joke, but the sad thing is it's not a funny one. So it goes in you're pissing your pants. Curse of Chucky. Now this is when Don Mancini decided, okay, I'm going to reel it in because it's been like a decade and everybody hated Seed and it didn't make the money we hoped it would. So I have to get back into the fans' good graces. So he went back to the drawing board with Curse of Chucky. Okay, let's go back to a suspenseful mystery horror film. And guess what? He did a damn good job because Curse of Chucky, in my opinion, goes into How's It Hanging, Phil. I love Curse of Chucky. I think that Curse of Chucky is everything that is right about Child's Play. Now, I will say, minor nitpicks aside, I don't really like the new design of the doll. Ever since Kevin Yeager hasn't been around, I just haven't really dug Chucky, like how he looks. I do like the reveal where, you finally get the scars underneath and everything. But even then, it's just not the same doll. And then furthermore, there's some moments of some questionable CGI in this film. It was lower budget. It went straight to video, but again, Don Mancini only has himself to blame for that. But aside from that, I love this movie. I think Fiona Dourif is great. I mean, you can tell Brad is her father. They're both phenomenal actors. I love the setting of this film. This like haunted mansion almost, this gigantic gothic manor. It's just I eat it up. I love that this movie, because I think it needed a reset after Bride and Seed. As much as I like Bride, we did start to go a little heavy in one direction, and then Seed was just like all out in that direction. Curse was a welcome, hey, let's kind of reel it back in. Let's go back to basics. Let's make this kind of a monster movie, a mystery movie again. And I think it's all the better for that. I also don't hate the retcon, I guess, of that, who Nika's mom is and what her relationship to Charles was and everything like that. I kind of like that. I don't think it really undermines anything in the franchise, in my opinion. I think it just adds a layer. Similar to what Scream 3 did. I don't think it takes away from anything. Maybe you could go, I could have done without that. I didn't need that. But I kind of dug it. Curse of Chucky, and great score. Fantastic score. Love the opening credits of this movie. Love that music. Man, this is a really good movie. It's a really good movie. And it's really frustrating because it shows you that Don Mancini can make a good Child's Play film. He can do it. But guess what? Curse of Chucky comes out. It's well reviewed. The fans are relatively happy with it. He's in everybody's good graces again. And he goes, all right, now let's do Cult of Chucky. Now I'm going to say this. Cult of Chucky is going into Martha Stewart. I'm not putting it in You're Pissing Your Pants. And I'm not putting it in Pissing Your Pants because you're pissing your pants because it has Fiona as Nika in it, and I do think she's good again. So her being the lead in this movie helps it a lot. There's some cool kills in this movie, specifically the one on the table underneath the gigantic like window on the roof. Like that's pretty cool. I liked that. There's some funny Chucky moments in this movie. I'll give it that too. However, I do think that Nika's underutilized. I do think that this just makes the unforgivable sin of breaking so many rules in the Child's Play franchise. Rules don't exist anymore. Let's just do whatever we want. These established rules for 2+ decades now, we're throwing them out the window. And it kind of goes back a little bit more to that seed flavor at times of tasteless humor, not funny jokes, don't really fit in this movie. Some thematic elements that just make you go like, huh? Why is that here? There's a whole thing with like Chucky breastfeeding. Some of it's just too much. This movie is, I think the skeleton of it was a solid idea, but my God, in the execution, it was botched. I mean, it really was. So Cult of Chucky, it's not good. It's the only movie worse than it, in my opinion, is Seed. However, I don't think it's unforgivable. There are some qualities to this movie that I do think are decent. So I'm not going to put it in the last tier. I'm not going to do that. Child's Play 2019. Now, this one is going to piss some people off. But I'm putting Child's Play 2019 into Give Me the Power, I Beg of You. I am. And honestly, that's how I rate the movies too. I think 2019 is my 6th in my ranking. I do think it is. Here's the thing. I will totally concede to anybody that hates this movie. I hate the doll design too. I don't like it. I will also concede the friend group for Andy. Not only do I think their performances are bad, just dumb. Hated the inclusion of it. Don't think it's just cringe. I don't like it at all. Everything else about this movie, I really like. I love Gabriel Bateman as Andy. I love Aubrey Plaza as Karen. I love the violence in this movie. Chucky is a demon. Some of the kills in this movie are fantastic. Like, I just eat it up. This movie's funny. Chucky is funny. Mark Hamill, I think, does a good job. I love the score to this movie. I love the third act. It was setting up this huge world that we could be building out. Like, the possibilities of this like AI, this technology, and what it could do, I thought was really cool. A really tantalizing idea. I wanted a sequel to this movie. Now, I think to enjoy this movie, you have to separate it from Chucky. Because this is not Chucky. It's not the Chucky you know. It's not the Chucky you love. And I don't even really think it's trying to be. I've always said that when it comes to remakes, you really need to try something different to kind of stand out. I always mention Gus Van Sant's Psycho. And I give this movie credit for going, okay, we're not doing the possessed doll route thing. We're not doing the serial killer. No, this is going to be AI. This is going to be, technology that's topical these days. It's original enough for us with the skeleton of it still being a killer doll named Chucky. Like, I really, really appreciated that about it. This movie's not great, but I think it's damn good. I really, really do. And I think if you take it on its own merit, you can have a really good time with this movie. I think a lot of people didn't allow themselves the opportunity to have a good time with this movie because it wasn't their Chucky. And it didn't help that Don Mancini was just railing against this thing from, the word go. So I really dug this. I wanted a sequel to this. I much wanted a sequel to this over what we ended up getting, which is Chucky the television series. And for me, it goes into Martha Stewart. Now, I haven't seen season 3. I've heard a lot of people tell me, oh, you got to watch season 3. It's much better than 2. Maybe it is. I was really, really burned by season 2. Here's the thing. Season 1, I wasn't in love with season 1, but I thought it was solid. I thought, okay, you've got the skeleton here of something that could prove to be fruitful down the line. I'm invested enough. And then season 2 came along and was like, just kidding. Here's all this cult stuff. Here's all this seed stuff. We're going to totally neuter the character of Nika. Just so much about it that I was like, You can't help yourself, Don. You really can't. And then season 3, again, that led to the cancellation of the show. So even if people liked it more, I can't imagine it was universally regarded. And now we are left with Child's Play where it is, where we have no idea what's going to happen. Don Mancini swears up and down that he's making an untitled Chucky film that's going to continue the TV series. Will probably go straight to video if it ever even happens. And that's where we are. Look, here's my overall thoughts of where we are right now with Child's Play. I want you guys to look from the moment that Don Mancini took over, like entirely took over as writer and director. Seed of Chucky, bad. Curse of Chucky, good. Cult of Chucky, bad. Season 1 of Chucky, the TV series, decent. Season 2, bad. Season 3, a lot of people say is decent. What is that? Every other one. What does that tell you? The creator of this, the guy that's at the helm for Child's Play right now, is very impulsive. He makes something that people don't like. He knows I have to reel myself back in. He delivers something that people mostly like. When he realizes they're happy, he goes back to his impulsive nature in trying things that are way off the wall. People get pissed, he recoils and tries to start fresh again. People get happy or they're relatively happy, and then he vomits again. His track record shows it. I am at a point where I am done with Don Mancini with Chucky. I don't want him a part of this franchise anymore. Maybe if he's a co-writer, whatever, producer, that's fine. I don't want him to be the lead writer. I don't want him to be the director anymore. He cannot help himself. He overstuffs these movies. He has so much to say, so much important things to say. You just don't get it. I'm so big brained. I'm so intelligent. Oh, you're going to love this. This is hilarious. This is so ahead of its time. And really, it just ends up being a muddled mess most of the time. And the reason that is frustrating is because he has shown that he can do better with this character. But you know what the problem is with Don at the helm for Child's Play? Don never wanted Child's Play to be what it was. Don wanted it to be a killer doll. Don did not want it to be a serial killer, taking over this doll's body and a doll being possessed by what was once a serial killer adult man. He didn't want that. He wanted the jokey. He wanted the over the top. He wanted the slapstick. He wanted the, not so serious approach. You can walk that line. Child's Play 2, Bride of Chucky. Hell, Child's Play 3 to that degree. But Cult, Seed, season 2 of the TVs, no. We don't want that. I know there's 10 or 15 people that'll say, well, I want that. But even those people most of the time know, like, I'm in the minority. Like, I know most people were not happy with this. Guys, we need a reset. We do. 2019 was our best option. It was our best chance at getting a fresh, new set of eyes on Chucky and charting a course forward from Don Mancini. And it didn't happen. So, look, I've railed on Don Mancini on my channel before. Personally, I don't have anything against the guy. He seems like a nice guy. I know he means well. Chucky just ain't for you anymore, bro. It's just not. So yeah, that's my tier list for the Child's Play movies. What did you guys think? Do you agree? Do you agree with where I put these all? Are you upset that nobody ended up and Chucky's going to be a bro? Honestly, that just goes to show you how I feel about this franchise. I love this series. Most of these movies I really, really enjoy. Like, not a lot of them are just, honestly, in my opinion, none of them are just fine. They're either bad, kind of bad, or great. But I don't know. I want to hear what you guys have to say down below. So please sound off in the comment section and let me know what you guys thought of this tier list. Let me know what you want to see for Chucky moving forward. Do you agree with me that Don Mancini needs to hand over the reins, or do you want him to be with Chucky for the rest of his life? Whatever it is, please comment down below and let me know. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for watching the video. Leave a like on it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. This is Nick at the Lost River Drive-In, and I'm pulling out.